G'day everyone, I'm Chris Nitzo. This is an Oz Cyclone Chasers Cyclone video update today, the 14th of February 2015, sponsored by Campbell Scientific Australia, when measurements matter. Two tropical lows in the Australian area of responsibility that need to be watched. The first one off the north coast of the peninsula, and the second one way out here off WA's coast. Now this one here we're not going to discuss too much. It's going to push in a southwesterly direction away from mainland WA and also away from Christmas and Cocos Islands, so we shouldn't see too much effect on those particular islands from this system. It may intensify into a cyclone and hopefully it'll get rid of that cursed name of Lamb, but don't hold your breath on that one, as model guidance disagrees fairly dramatically in terms of intensity. Forecast tracks of that system, fairly definitive guidance there. It's not going to affect anyone. Tropical low 95p, this is what we're going to talk about a little bit more today. We can see it here located right around that 145 degrees east mark, around about 12 to 12.5 degrees south. Pretty difficult to find it on satellite at the moment because it is so weak. We have a lot of very strong convection around the system, so we've got heaps of convection here, we've got heaps of convection here, and we've got a little bit of a rotating convective column here as well. Now that initially was some convergence, but it does seem to be rotating in the last couple of satellite frames. Now the computer models aren't overly interested in that, but with a situation that's developing like this, we always need to keep an eye on satellite just in case this does finally decide to spin up into a low. But really the focus of the computer model guidance is this low pressure center right here. Looking at the latest animated satellite imagery, you can see general rotation in the region here right around that 145 degree east mark, so it looks like a pretty sound positioning by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center of where that low is. Computer model solutions for this system do vary, and quite dramatically. So if we have a look here on Saturday's forecast, we can see that the system is expected to remain here off the north coast of the peninsula this afternoon. As we get into Sunday afternoon, the system remains here, although it does develop two low pressure centers, the first one here, the second one here. The computer models might be struggling with regards to that. Now, if we focus in on Monday afternoon, we look at the system has started to exit the West Peninsula, and then by Tuesday afternoon, we've got a tropical cyclone developing in the northern Gulf of Carpentaria, and by Wednesday afternoon, we've got a landfall in Gove. Bam, as easy as you like. But anyone who's half smart about the weather, and certainly half smart about cyclones, knows that it's never as easy as you like. And so here are a range of different track forecasts from the GEFS. So that's the GFS forecast model run 20 times, has come up with 20 different solutions. This is the model average, or was the model average. We can see that that model average has now shifted to a slightly more northerly solution. It's been shifting between north to south to even southeast here in the southeast Gulf of Carpentaria. So basically all this region here is in with a chance at this cyclone. And there is a fairly wide degree of difference in terms of where the system could go, dependent on the steering mechanisms in play at the time. Now, I'm not going to go into those in detail here in this video update. That's more for a subscriber update for those that want to know the nitty-gritty behind the different steering possibilities. But overall, folks, we have a steering mechanism that's going to try and track it west, and then we've also got a steering mechanism that could try and track it south. And at the moment, there's a battle between the models as to which one of those steering mechanisms wins. Now, at this stage, we are looking at the northerly solution here being the favorite. So if you're a betting person, you would bet that it would push to the west, but the outsider is starting to firm up a little bit in the odds, and the outsider is this more southerly solution. You can see a pretty similar dilemma here from the CMC computer model. We've got a lot of guidance pushing this system out to the west and then south, but we've also got some guidance that pushes it south a little bit quicker. And as I mentioned, the favourite is that westerly solution across into the NT, but there is a slight firming of the outside chance here of the more southerly solution. Looking at the Bureau of Meteorology model, we can see here a slightly different track. This is an example of the more southerly solution being the favourite in a couple of the computer models. Here is the tropical low out to day 5, and then as we go into day 6, we can see a landfall of the tropical low or cyclone in the southeast Gulf of Carpentaria. Obviously, why is this important? Well, because if we have a tropical low or cyclone that hits the southeast Gulf of Carpentaria, the northeast coast of Queensland is getting smashed with rainfall. and that becomes a fairly significant issue for a lot of that part of the state. The other thing, of course, is that with a system that hits the southeast, Gulf of Carpentaria, we tend to see a lot of rainfall pushing into Western Queensland, and that would be a godsend for our farmers. But as I mentioned, at this stage, this is the outside model solution. This is not the favourite at this point in time. Once again, I'm not going to go into the steering mechanisms associated with the difference in opinion between model guidances. That's something that we talk about in our subscription updates. Rainfall for today, thanks to the Access Regional Model shown by weatherzone.com.au, you can see here the tropical low expected to remain offshore by tonight, and by between last night and tonight, we're expecting to see 100mm plus falls out here, particularly to the north of Cairns, with moderate to heavy falls further to the south. But once again, that Townsville coastline missing out on most of the activity. Also, the possibility for some enhanced rainfall here around the Mackay coastline too. Looking at a larger area view across the nation, we can see, as I mentioned, the bulk of the rainfall expected to hit this area north of Cairns, with moderate to heavy falls still possible further to the south, but much lighter falls for the rest of the Queensland coast. Over to the northeast parts of the territory, we can see the potential here for some shower activity to form along the northeast coast. Some really good storms around Darwin yesterday. There was some torrential rain, very short-lived rain, but torrential rain created some areas of flash flooding around the city yesterday, and a fairly lightning active storm too. So pretty cool when you see these storms this time of year where we don't have that much moisture availability in the larger parts of the far northern parts of the NT, but we do have little pockets of moisture that we get the convective energy able to tap into, and that's why we saw some spectacular storms around Darwin yesterday. Also, the possibility here for some isolated showers and storms around the Kimberley, and possibly even the coastal parts of the Pilbara. Now, there were some storms in operation early this morning in that region. As we go to Sunday, we can see continuation of heavy falls here to the north of Cairns, lighter falls further to the south, almost a complete easing off of shower activity across the rest of Queensland. Further to the west, we can see the possibility here for an increase in shower and storm activity and rain activity in general, with the development or intensification of a monsoon trough further to the west of the tropical low. Once again, the possibility of some North Kimberley thunderstorms and possibly even the West Kimberley thunderstorms there. Not shown here, but there is still a chance of some very isolated convective showers on the Pilbara. On Monday, now this is where models disagree. Some models push this system further to the west, some models keep this system fairly close to the coastline here of the West Peninsula. Because of that, we start to see disagreement in where these heavy falls will start to lie. So we have heavy falls possible in this region, but also the continuation of heavy falls possible in this region, and therein lies the doubt. So what happens after Monday night? Not exactly sure. Does it push west? Does it push south? And if so, those computer model variations will change in terms of where those heavy falls will lie. So that's as far as we're going with rainfall Monday night, because after that, things just go a little bit haywire in terms of what can happen. One final thing I'd like to draw your attention to while we end this update is the possibility here around mid-next week of a new low pressure system forming near the north tropical coast or near the tropical coast of Queensland. Not expected to deepen significantly, but may enhance shower activity anywhere sort of Cairns southwards if that low does develop. Now, we'll keep an eye on models, and subscribers, you'll be first to know about it, but we'll let the general public know by our update on Monday as to how likely this particular situation is of developing. At the moment, there's about a 30 to 40% chance that we're going to see a tropical low form in this area. But let's not take away from the main event. The main event is this one here. This is the one we're really watching. If this does form, we're not expecting it to intensify significantly, but stranger things have happened in the Coral Sea. So at this stage, folks, main event we're watching, will it push west? Will it push south? That's the question we can't answer right now. And then in the medium term, let's have a look at the area off the tropical Queensland coast and look for potential of a low developing in that region. And one final computer model we haven't talked about, because it doesn't help to shed any light whatsoever on the current situation, is the European. But if we do just quickly mention it, the European ensemble overall is expecting to see a tropical low or cyclone to have made landfall on Thursday, but there is considerable disagreement as to where that cyclone or low could lie, anywhere in that circled area. The other thing that we need to mention here on the Euro is it's also predicting this area of slightly lower pressure around the Cairns to Townsville to Bowen coastline, so that will obviously need to be watched as we get into mid next week. Thanks for watching this update, folks. Just a quick reminder here for those of you that are subscribers that don't know, if you log into your subscriber page, what we now do is have created this current Aussie Cyclones page. If you go to the current Aussie Cyclones page, we will have video updates here very regularly, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a day for you to have a look at. So the latest video update will always be at the top, and then we'll also have the video update before that down the bottom. So you can see the video update for subscribers this morning was around about 20 minutes long, and we talked about all the different possible scenarios and why they happen. And also the update from last night is available to those subscribers too. So just a reminder to access this, rather than going to your state pages, which is what you used to do, what we would like you to do now is go into the current Aussie Cyclones page, and if you click that and just scroll down a little bit, you'll find the latest cyclone video update. Thanks for watching this one, folks, and our next update to the general public will be on Monday. Enjoy your weekend.